of electric. On September 30th, President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill will end an EV tax credit worth up to $7,500.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So this summer, thousands are rushing to make their electric purchases now before the deadline.
Yeah, it has been a big summer, too. In July, consumers purchased more than 130,000 new EVs and nearly 37,000 used EVs, making July one of the highest monthly sales ever recorded. And it's not too late to get yours. You can still qualify for that EV tax credit that Steph was talking about if you drive your car off the lot by September 30th.
And if you're considering whether or not it's worth it, EV specialist Greg Morrison shares some important factors to consider before you go electric.
If you're a first-time buyer considering buying an EV, a couple of things you want to consider. One of which would be, how far do I drive every day? Really, how far do I drive? How often do I go on a long trip? And how much am I spending for gasoline at the pump every day? How are you going to charge it at home? Not everybody wants to go to a public charging facility every 3 or 4 days or every week or so. A lot of people ask the question about range anxiety. First of all, understand, when you're dealing with the initial electric vehicles, which had a range of 150 miles, that was something to be concerned about for fear that you're going to get put down on the side of the road. But as new vehicles come online with ranges of 300, 350, 380 miles to a full charge, that's less of a problem. Charging a battery in a vehicle can be, how much is it going to cost me? Where can I do it? How much it will take out of me? If you go to public charging, there's going to be a rate which will be set at a certain point, plus a profit for the operator of that public charging. If you have private charging, the rate is much lower. And some manufacturers are basically selling you the EV charger along with the vehicle. So all you have to do is get it installed. And in some places, there are tax incentives or rebate incentives from the local utility company to install an EV charger. So those are some of the things to consider. And I recently had an EV that had a range of 370 miles on a full charge. I've plugged it in twice just for fun for the week that I had it. And it cost me a total of $9, and it gave me approximately 220 miles. I like home charging. I'm an evangelist for it because it just makes sense. It future-proofs your home, first of all. Second of all, with a fully charged vehicle sitting out in the driveway, if in the crazy event you do lose power, you can plug in an extension cord to keep your refrigerator going, or maybe 1 or 2 devices going. And that'll usually run for 2 to 3 days, maybe longer. Ford recently announced a plan to create a universal EV platform that will have a smaller battery than what you normally see in the F-150 Lightning, with the same range and bi-directional charging. And Ford executives say, we can probably make your house run for about 6 days with this thing if it's fully charged, if you need to use the vehicle as a power source. And let's talk for a minute about what it costs to run both an EV and an ICE vehicle. An EV, your biggest maintenance cost is going to be your tires. If you're driving an EV, you've got to learn to be very gentle with the accelerator because they go through tires faster because of the instant torque. Once you learn how to gently touch that accelerator, everything is fine. On an internal combustion engine, you've got to worry about tires, oil, gasoline, hydraulic fluids, all of those things that come along with the maintenance, plus routine tune-ups. A visit to a dealership, for example, to do routine maintenance could run anywhere from $300 to $500, depending upon the make of the car. So you do that math over a number of years, you figure, how much am I paying for maintenance? Is it really worth it? How much am I saving using an EV if I only have to buy tires every 2 years or every 3 years? One of the other things we must consider as we go forward, fossil fuel is a finite item. It's a finite amount of energy and resource available, unless someone discovers a whole bunch of fossil fuel somewhere. But we have to start thinking about what are we going to do 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line in terms of the air that we breathe, the air that our children and grandchildren will breathe. So I would strongly recommend for folks who live in a city, in an urban center, who don't drive that far to and from work, consider an EV or even a plug-in hybrid as a way to wean ourselves from the dependency on fossil fuel. So when we do need fossil fuel as a primary energy source, there's enough of it left that we're not freaking out.
And if you still aren't sure if you want to go electric, listen to current EV drivers. According to a recent study, 92% of electric vehicle owners say that they will never go back to cars with internal combustion engines.
They're fun to drive. I've
They're
driven
fun
a couple.
to drive. They're fast.
They are fast. The acceleration is really fast on them.
The difference is that single pedal Greg told us about, where you don't really have to use the brake as much.
That's also something to get used to as well.
And it's a giant computer,
if you choose
basically.
That, yeah.